crowd of 91,482 will witness history of some sort being created today.
The Brisbane Lions versus Essendon, the 2001 AFL Grand Final.
We're not the little kids in this contest. That's what our players had to believe.
And they wipe their backside. They're there to grow up as men.
It's just the most nervous feeling I've ever had in my life.
It was all unknown. You didn't know what to expect.
I was in an incredible place of fear. Fear of failure.
Everyone has their own individual battles to get there.
They needed some magic from somewhere.
They were the enemy. You can't even lay eyes on them.
We knew each other inside and out, and that's why we had such a great side.
No doubt the best two teams of the year were playing on the grand final.
You're coming up against a tsunami. It was just relentless.
There's a real sense of desperation.
The left foot's not there. Oh, it's terrific. It's a goal.
Nothing could distract us. We're going to win.
I'm not a sook, but I was crying with excitement and pleasure.
All the words had been spoken. The story had been told. It was for us to write the final chapter.
Definitely 2000, it felt like, towards the end of the year, that were pretty hard to beat. Obviously, losing one game for the year and winning most games pretty easily. I remember Gary Lyon at the time saying, "We are witnessing the greatest team that's ever played this game." We started to believe that a little bit.
You never like to actually say that you fear another side, but I know that when we played in 2000, I feel we had sides beaten before they even ran out half the time.
And the club was financially getting better and stronger and bigger, and the membership. And the fans were terrific.
They were the favourites. Everyone had assumed that they were going to win their back-to-back.
Everyone thought it was going to be a laydown was there. They were going to win it again in 2001.
The Predator movie that Arnie Schwarzenegger starred in, and there was this monster that was killing all these people, and all of a sudden they shot this monster and they discovered it bled.
Essendon hadn't lost a game, and Lee came out with the terminology, if it bleeds, you can kill it. We all thought he was a bit nuts, a bit crazy.
Oh, I just thought, what's he on, the old fella?
I found it amusing because I'm a great Arnold Schwarzenegger fan, so I knew the line.
Yeah, you got to throw anything in there to have a crack at trying to make sure that you can just put a little bit of doubt there. I thought it was pretty good.
That was the one time you've probably said something in a press conference to try and set the scene or the example.
We had to break down this aura of invincibility that Essendon had at that time.
They can bleed, they're human, so don't be scared of them. They're beatable.
Now goes longer towards Lloyd, outside 50, doesn't let him down.
I'll never forget the round 10 when Lee Matthews says, if it bleeds, we can kill it. We didn't see Brisbane as a factor at that stage.
In the end, an emphatic victory for the Brisbane Lions. They've broken new ground tonight.
You weren't given much of a chance tonight.
Oh, we gave ourselves enough, so that's all that matters.
I don't know whether we would have got the grand final had we lost that game. But it certainly was the catalyst for us to be able to believe in ourselves.
I think you've got to remember that we had basically the same lists were with us in '98 as well when we came last.
The end of an era for Fitzroy. So they'll go out after 113 years. And what emotion has been shown here in Fitzroy's last game of football.
I knew there was a lot of Fitzroy supporters out there that probably weren't in favour of the merge back in '97.
Wearing the Fitzroy jumper I was very proud of. Bears, likewise. And it was a sad day when the merger happened. But at the same time, I felt it was a good fit.
It was a football frontier up in Queensland. We were fighting the good fight. Almost it felt like on behalf of the AFL.
The Fitzroy people down here that did support the Brisbane Lions were so rapt to see them do so well because we suffered badly, Fitzroy, in the old days.
12 months after the merger, Lee came in, cleared the decks. He just thought, well, we are a real chance.
That was the weekend before the grand finals when Ansett went bankrupt. So the Sunday before the grand final, we didn't even know how we were going to get to Melbourne. we ended up hiring a couple of planes. And as it turned out, when the players, wives and girlfriends, kids, all came to Melbourne on the same flight. So you didn't get stressed by something as much as how the hell are we going to get to Melbourne?
Lions, Jay Ackermanis.
One Ansett collapsed. We didn't really want to travel, and Lee was just adamant that we didn't want to travel twice in a week.
A much pleasure in declaring Jason Ackermanis the 2001 Brownlow medal winner.
I think you're the first person to have won the Brownlow, not to have been in the room.
Something like this you certainly don't expect.
What a week, all of a sudden. Talk about chucking the load. I felt like the world was on my shoulders. I had to perform all of a sudden. I never had that before.
Childhood dream that I thought I'd never be able to experience, and I experienced it.
It looked like there was more Brisbane Lions supporters at that parade than Essendon supporters.
I remember at those parades, you're standing there and the tension between the two clubs, you can't even lay eyes on them. It's like you're about to start a 10-round boxing match.
If I can recall, Chris and Brad Scott decided they didn't want to do it. They wanted to go and play golf.
Parade. Well, we don't remember too much of it because we weren't there. Yeah, and we would have got away with it too, but Chris won the comp that we played in down at the National that day, so it was published in the paper. Yeah, he took my money as well.
This rivalry was starting to build between Brisbane and Essendon, and even between the coaches. Friday press conference, Lee didn't acknowledge Sheeds didn't acknowledge Lee.
But I remember saying on the press conferences, I don't think Sheeds' left side of his brain would know what his right-hand side was doing. In a very small way, it was saying to our players, we're not the little kids taking on the big kids, we're taking them on. And we're not scared of anyone.
It is genuine excitement at what's about to happen and the fact that you can be part of the biggest game of the year.
You'll get 10 times that week. Just treat it like another game, but of course that's impossible.
We were feeling good. We'd had the runs on the board. We knew we could play good footy.
I'm a really nervous type, and I either had jelly legs or my legs would feel like I had a heap of bricks, just wanting the game to start.
You'd rather be anywhere else, which is really funny because just the sheer amount of stress that your body's under is not normal.
Back-to-back premierships, led by their skipper James Hurd on Grand Final Day. Please welcome the Essendon Football Club.
I do remember running out and the feeling of the roar. That initial walk up to the ground is undescribable.
Just have a look around, they're here to see us. And the crowd just all rises.
They've taken a deep breath, the Lions, as they come out. Huge support surrounding them here.
You step onto the turf and it feels like your first foot doesn't touch the grass. Then your second doesn't touch, and then your third doesn't touch. And then by about the fifth, you actually start to get a bit of traction because you're just floating.
Coming from Fitzroy, Martin Pike and I are running out together. We're the last ones to go through the banner and patting each other on the back and saying, look how far we've come.
I felt like that everything that we needed to say had been said, and now we've got to get the job done.
Your career and the games, everything's on a knife's edge.
When that siren goes, it's game on, and they're going to have to be good to beat us.
They were the ones to beat. They were always so cocky and confident, and they had that real aura.
Obviously, we still thought we were the measuring stick.
We've been in really good form, we won 15 straight. And I've never seen the guys look so confident.
I always say you need a lot of luck. You need your best side going for most of the year to get to a grand final, to win a grand final.
James Hurd and Michael Voss, two men who shared the Brownlow medal, about to toss the coin.
You understand that your career and the games, everything's on a knife's edge, and 2 or 3 injuries can really hurt a team.
I think Essendon had a couple of injury issues, and I think they were a little bit below what they had been.
We had some tired and sore bodies, so we sort of limped into the finals.
We carried a couple of sore players in, but they're the risks you take.
James Hird has been a question mark over his groin all week.
We knew something was up with Hirdy because of the amount of training he'd done.
So we knew he was underdone, but felt that he was still the bloke you wanted to lead out there.
James Hird, 60% fit, could cut you to ribbons.
It is Chris Scott for Hird. No, he's pointed to his brother. So Brad Scott goes in.
Probably just letting him know that, you know, if you're doing anything to me brother, well, you got me the answer to.
If I'd known I was playing on James Hird the night before the game, I wouldn't have slept much. Chris and I often let the opposition forwards know that they were going to be in for a torrid day, and it wasn't just going to be from their direct opponent.
So the moment has arrived. Haven't we been waiting?
Well, you never know when you go into a grand final what's going to happen.
Don't get too stressed trying to anticipate what someone else is going to do. Just do what we do and do it well.
Voss, so cleverly, so strong, to White. White with a bounce. Lyon's looking good early. He'll draw and go to Hart. Hart's a left footer. It sits for him now. He'll get onto his left. He does now. Good kick. Penetrating kick. Lovely play.
When that siren goes, it's game on, and they're going to have to be good to beat us.
It's not bad, but it's a behind.
Here's Ackermanis. The Brownlow medalist slips but recovers. Sends the Lions deep in towards Lynch territory again. In front of him is Daniel Bradshaw. But he also misses.
Brisbane have had a chance to really get the dream started here, and they haven't done it.
Yeah, they're just letting Essendon off the hook at the moment, the Brisbane Lions.
While we'd missed some opportunities, you know, the floodgates were going to open at some stage, and that was really the way we played our footy. You know, that we'd grind sides down.
You're waiting for the Essendon wheel as a player to start to kick in.
Fletcher straight down the middle. Delightful hand pass from Carousella off to Lucas. Maybe Lloyd will get an opportunity now.
Funny thing about footy is it's a game of opportunities. You only have a certain amount per game, and Brisbane sort of probably wasting theirs really.
Jonathan Brown centering in towards full forward, and the mark is taken to the back by Lynch.
Lynch, has he missed it? I think he's missed it. It's close. He has.
I wouldn't say my challenges were more than other players. I think they were different to other players.
And the strength that he had to get to come back from his chronic fatigue. Lynchy never travelled to Perth. We never took him on the long haul trips because of the fact that it took him so long to recover.
Lynch's career was nearly gone through his illness, and they'd come back and had a great career.
What a great start for Alistair Lynch, playing his 249th game.
Needs to kick a goal here, Lynch.
Yeah, the chronic fatigue stuff was a major issue. I was lucky that my career stretched long enough to be a part of this group, and you get to a stage of your career where you think maybe it's gone by, the opportunity to play in a premiership team.
Hart runs it off, goes for goal, no, comes out wide and finds Lynch. Surely, Fletcher's decked him unceremoniously.
Justin Fletcher played on me that day, and I don't think there was any talk whatsoever.
Off the ground, Voss, pretty effective, and Lynch has got it. You just wonder how many chances you're going to get against Fletcher at the end of the day.
I remember Fletcher used to hate playing on him because he used to throw him around like a rag doll, because Fletcher's all skin and bones, and Lynchy was just a man mountain.
Well, I had to try to engage him in one-on-one contests because I know I wasn't going to outrun him. Maybe over 10 metres probably, but that was about it.
Got him, not quite. Fletcher terrific. Two Mr. Gadgets at once.
Fletcher could always use those go-go gadget arms and spoil it away.
Squeezes into the goal square. Lots of marking chances. Fletcher was terrific after Bradshaw's first touch. Lynch and Wellman, some courage. Mark Johnson, Fletcher, well played, Bombers.
Fletcher's still playing. I mean, he's a marvel.
Left foot going and going. Fletcher, he saves the day.
I felt like we were going really well, but they just stay in the game.
We soon realised we had a game on our hands, and it was going to go down to the wire.
Amasiti, so into play, out wide, nothing's happening for the Bombers. No Lloyd, no Hurd. Fletcher's struggling, they're 3 champs.
The real players who you just expected to be big game players weren't having an influence.
There's only so many opportunities you're going to get. We should have capitalised on that a lot better.
Yeah, I think it was like the big heavyweight battle. The champ or the guy that's, I suppose, trying to take on the champ come out swinging.
Solomon going back, Voss off the ground. Academics left foot. It's a goal. He's done it. The Brownlow medalist has put him in front.
It's quarter time here at the MCG in the 2001 Grand Final. The Lions are 3-7. They lead Essendon 3-2. The margin 5 points.
Yeah, the game is very much a blur.
Threw the black armband tape at us to obviously signify, stick it up yours, you blokes.
Welcome back to the MCG. People bathed in sunshine.
Probably what we didn't count on is the heat wave that struck Melbourne through that September period.
It was 28 to 21 degrees that day, which late September in Melbourne is a bit freakish. They were used to the heat.
There's an Essendon jumper being dried off there by their property steward down in the rooms. It has been particularly hot out there.
For us, hot's in the 30s. In the 20s is perfect.
It was typical Brisbane weather, so I thought this is in our favour.
It's just a belief that we were going to be the fitter, we were going to be the stronger, that the heat was going to suit us.
A big part of today's game, the players will be wearing this ice vest coming off the ground and also a quarter time and half time. So this could be the secret of any side winning today.
We're probably groundbreaking in many areas over that time. Obviously had our refrigerated parts to cool the core body temperature down. There was a rumour going around that Brisbane guys were using the IV drip to obviously aid their recovery.
They tried to tell a story that they were, living in ice chests and refrigerators and all that sort of stuff. Some transfusions of keeping them cool, and I mean, you just don't know. It's a whole lot of bull dust.
To show them that, the IV was dead. A couple of our guys put the mark of respect tape around the forearm. If you go and look at the vision, it's quite amazing.
The Bombers are wearing a black armband halfway down their forearm.
Starcevic, their runner, I was on the bench, and came over and threw the black armband tape at us to obviously signify that, stick it up yours, you blokes.
The Bombers going into the second quarter down by 5 points.
I felt that year was my best year I ever had in terms of being on top of my game.
The left footer is in a perfect spot here, and he's kicked the perfect goal.
To watch him play and to see how he could dominate games was amazing.
He just knew when to lead, had a great set of hands. It was just a super kick for goal. He's a champion of the game, Lordy.
Sizes up his options, goes in towards Lucas. Scotty Lucas has come in an enormous amount of territory.
Scotty and Lloydie were a great fall for each other. They played very well together, and you always knew if Lloydie was held, Scotty would pop up and vice versa.
Still been able to maintain possession, however, by flicking up towards Lucas. Strong mark. He's certainly got a height advantage over Chris Scott.
Scott Lucas has got to come off. He's got some blood, and I think it may have come off that clash with Luke Power because he's got some blood on his face as well.
He would often just stamp his authority.
Lucas coming in with the head bandage.
He was on fire too, that big left leg.
Tries to pop it over the top, doesn't quite succeed. Lucas, he's in a good spot for the left footer. Lucas, pick it up!
Probably didn't get the accolades as Lloydie, because Lloydie was the poster boy, the glamour boy.
He was throwing the grass up a few times. I don't know how much it's told him though when it's going around in a circle as it comes down.
I mean, you got to laugh.
And so that actually does make you feel a little better.
I'm 5'11", never played full forward in my life. Why would I have the experience in telling a Matthew Lloyd how to play full forward?
Still the arm wrestle continues.
The goals are hard to get.
We'd got such a habit over the years of putting teams away early. And it's amazing the psychology of that is then you put the foot on the throat and the game's all over.
There's a big pack of players. Comes wide. Opportunity for McVeigh to flick it in towards full forward. Oh, an open goal. Thank you very much, says Blake Carousel.
We we needed to be far enough ahead to stop a side that was in form.
He's one of the few players in the comp you give any chance at all. He's timed it sweetly. It's a good kick. It's going and going. They like it. He's drilled it. The momentum's with the Bombers, and suddenly a bit of frustration for the Lions too.
They started to stretch ahead, and that's when you sort of felt, are we going to blow our chance? And we couldn't get desperate. It was just really important at that point in time. Just stay calm. It will come.
In towards Brown, and Jonathan Brown, the 19-year-old from South Warrnambool, will go back and have a shot.
Dad played for Fitzroy and a couple of games for the Bombers.
It's a lovely kick, a delightful kick, and back come the Lions.
Although we were winning, we weren't playing exceptionally well.
Hurd stretching, can't hold it.
Very frustrating. Professional football, you pride yourself on performances in big games, and unfortunately that didn't happen.
Towards the left half forward flank, and paddled over the line. Hurd yet to have any influence at all.
You know, he probably an average game because he was carrying a bit of an injury.
He probably thought he could go out there and do what he normally does.
My attitude was that if he was out there, he was going to be at his best. I just had to do everything I could to stop him.
Hurd, he may get a run at it. Bang, here comes Hart. Unbelievable, he came over the footy.
Sean Hart, who was terrific that day, he hit Hurd from front on and I hit him from behind, and that knocked him around a fair bit.
Going head-to-head with James Hurd over a contested football, and my helmet actually came off my head.
I thought it was his head, Sean Hart's helmet.
But it felt like Hurd's head had to come off.
Then I ran into Sean Hart, I think it was in the second quarter, and my recollection of the game is almost non-existent. When you get concussed, don't remember too much of it.
He decides to head to the open spaces. He'll certainly test Hurd. Brad Scott is there with him. Scott turns him inside out, and he's away. He's been in very good form.
Great kick.
Lovely kick.
To shut out the opposition's very best player in James Hurd.
It was a very pivotal clash for us in being able to have Brad Scott play on him.
Brad Scott and James Hurd.
Trying to get up Hurd a bit there.
I would have liked to have played better than what I did. I played a very good player that day in Brad Scott, who certainly gave me a lesson in football.
I was really conscious that I just had to wear him as closely as I could because he's a champion player, and if I let him dictate terms, he was going to dominate the game.
This time Hurd gets a touch, much to the delight of Bomber fans.
Immediately something happens for the Bombers.
He just has a will of a champion.
My captains are leaders. They're just not title.
He made everyone walk so much taller. Amor ready to run through a brick wall once he finished his pre-match speech.
Ackermanis couldn't quite. Well played, Hurd. Really well played. To Ramanauskas. Little gift to Lucas.
He has individual brilliance about the way that he plays, and he didn't have to do much for him to have an impact on his team.
Wobbles a punt up towards Hurd. Starting to come into it.
And he's an amazing young man.
Little bodies flying everywhere.
We are now starting to crack them.
It was probably a sign to us that it was, the last roll of the dice.
They're probably in danger of being really blown away with the Lions. It's only a couple of minutes to half-time.
We were behind, so we were certainly struggling to keep up.
The Bombers at the moment have the answers. Great recovery by Ramanauskas. Wide and out, opportunity for McCurry. The Bombers go to half-forward. Lucas.
The second quarter, where we turned things around, our game plan started to look pretty sharp.
Maybe 12 months beforehand, we might have been worried, and there's grounds to be worried because of how good Essendon were in that second term.
20 points the margin at the moment. Lynch.
We've got a great game here. It's been a terrific first half. Still very much a match to be won. At half-time, it's the Bombers by 14 points.
I came in at half-time supremely confident.
Brad Scott was with me, and I just remember this strange sort of connection with him. And I looked across at him, and he looked across at me.
We looked at each other, and the common thread of what we were saying is
that we got him.
Like a lot of other blokes, I was tired and I was sore. Not a great mindset to go into the last half going in with.
I almost felt like I hadn't played, a half a footy at all. And I thought the rest of the team looked the same way.
I remember Lee Matthews saying that we have to risk the depression of defeat that we might experience the exhilaration of victory.
Lee was an amazing leader. Once he came to the club, absolutely united the club, united the player group.
Everyone respected him. I mean, if he said jump, you'd say how high.
The team was successful, he praised the players. When the team didn't play well, he blamed himself.
Everything he said, you just had to listen to it, you hung off every word, you just knew that he was going to take you to the promised land.
I never got the concept of coaching against coaches. I mean, my players played against their players.
He's really got a better record than me against each other, but probably in the end he's always been a more talented person.
Sheeds was a motivator. He made his players feel bulletproof. The positivity he gave us, the way he allowed us to develop into our own people and our own players was quite amazing.
I care about my players and always will, but I don't wipe their backside. They're there to grow up as men.
He was the life of the party.
How many more, mate?
Just a couple.
He came on a few footy trips with us overseas, and for a bloke that was 60, tried to keep up with the good drinkers on tour. He tried, and it was funny watching him try.
We're all set for what should be a fantastic second half of footy.
We knew we had a fair battle on our hands in that second half. The Brisbane guys were up and roaring.
Hardwick, look out, you're in trouble. He twists out of trouble.
Every great side, has a little chink in their armour.
Moorcroft thought about Barnard. Then he's got Caracella running. Caracella thinks about Barnard. Barnard from 51 metres. Drifted across the face and it won't come back.
We kicked 3 or 4 goals and the game's over and done with, but instead we kicked 5 or 6 points.
I did feel that there wasn't probably enough of a spark within us.
That was the moment when you sort of thought, right, game on.
Since Kevin Sheedy and Lee Matthews were coaching in the grand final in 1990, no team has been outscored in the third quarter and won the flag.
The fresh legs of Notting. The Lions are away. Notting puts them inside 50. The kick's got to be good. The bounce is a good one. Eventually for Brown. Down he goes. Up he comes. Gives it to Power. And the Lions are still there. They're filling the heat in the Essendon kitchen now.
All of a sudden, we started to control every part of the ground, and what seemed like a bit of an arm wrestle in the first half really started to go our way.
Stolen by Johnson. Away goes Chrissy Johnson. Spearing a worm-burning pass to half-forward, and McRae takes the mark. Suddenly, the foot's gone on the accelerator. The Lions are running. He goes in towards Brown.
The longer the game went on, the longer we were going to be able to overrun them.
This to give the Lions the lead. He has done it.
Not only are we about to put the foot down, we are now starting to crack them. You could see them making mistakes.
Caracella caught. Ackermanis onto him. Talk about going in for the kill here. The Bombers just standing up.
I thought we were in trouble. It was a stage we were on the ropes and we had to actually act.
Bombers have come out and have thrown an early punch or two, haven't they?
They haven't landed one yet, boys.
There was a lot of niggle that was going on. I felt that we were on the front foot with that.
There were bodies flying everywhere, the impacts, the collisions. It's do or die.
It's a free kick to the Lions against Solomon, I think.
He's like a kamikaze pilot. I think that was his way of saying, boys, if we don't do something here, if we don't stand up, it's going to slip away.
Left one high.
When the opposition started doing that, well, it was probably a sign to us that it was, the last roll of the dice.
It's not over yet.
It's the only mistake he's made all day, and it was after the siren.
Time and time again, I get reminded of that. And if I got $1 off everybody else, that makes me a multi-millionaire.
Let's hope he hasn't injured himself. That would be ridiculous. Two icons of the game walk out to address their players for the final time this year. And Brisbane now lead by 16.
Yeah, I wanted it, and I just was craving that opportunity.
I just saw no flinches.
There's games you should win and there's games that you're going to lose.
Scenes from the South Bank Piazza in Brisbane where a couple of thousand fans are today. Really hooping it up as we come back to the Melbourne Cricket Ground.
3/4 time, it was like, don't let these pricks off the hook.
We had a really confident feeling that they'd thrown everything they could at us. As soon as we went out in the second half, we'd overrun them and get the job done.
In their 15-match streak, they've won 13 last quarters, Brisbane.
It's the last quarter. We've got them on the ropes. We've got to keep grinding away, keep doing what we're doing at the moment because it's working.
I'm looking around the ground and we saw just a few blokes, just really struggling and really battling.
Yeah, trying to rev the team up to say, come on, we've still got this. But I did feel like that there was a few signs of resignation.
You can say all the right things at three-quarter time and act all the right way, but deep down you know how yourself is going.
Barnes in the ruck. His last game in his 5th grand final.
Some players are coming towards the end of their career that had been so good for so long.
It's certainly not panning out to be the sort of afternoon that John Barnes was looking for.
I remember it also being emotional because Longy was obviously in the rooms thereabouts too, and you're disappointed for him, disappointed for the guys that missed out.
Towards the end of 2001, I think we were a little bit battle weary.
But there's a real sense of we might be able to keep this group together for too much longer.
And the salary cap issues just, caught up with us, which was very, very sad.
Perhaps, this was one last crack we could have.
Lloyd to go bang from 50, 50, 50. He's done it. There's still a chance.
I had a strong desire to be the person to try and get things back on track for us, and I just was craving that opportunity.
I suppose that fear as well as that knowing that the opposition was still well respected, to just keep hammering them if we could.
Ackermanis is alert. Here's the Brownlow medalist from 50. Bangs it back. Kicks it towards goal.
Acker was electrifying. When he had to stand up, he did stand up.
We set up a lot of the way we played to help him play well. He didn't need many chances to hurt the opposition.
Ackermanis was the one we knew he could pretty much cut us apart. His burst of speed from 0 to 10 is sensational.
Ackermanis twisting, turning, weaving.
Acker was the sort of guy that loved doing his handstands at the end of games. Not something the rest of us wanted to do, and probably not something the rest of us liked.
We've probably all knocked him at times in terms of his some of the things he's done and said, but in terms of his football, he let it speak volumes.
Ackermanis, away goes the Brownlow medalist. Acker's away.
I was just hanging on for dear life. When I look back now, I was out of my depth in terms of playing on someone like that.
He looks for Voss and finds the champion Brownlow medalist and skipper on the half-back flank.
Vossi was certainly the best player that I've seen play.
When the chips were down, he would be the one who'd drag us back up.
He was a fantastic leader in both the way he lived his footy life and the way he directed out on the field.
As a captain, there's a hugely powerful feeling to know that as a leader, that the guys that are walking behind you, you've got absolutely undying trust in. I just remember walking down the race, and I just remember thinking as I was walking down there, is there anybody that I wouldn't have in my team right now that's right behind me? And I had a group of men that were around me that were ready to go to war, unquestionable. And when I looked in their eyes, I just saw no flinches.
Still McDonald to Voss in the pocket. Voss close. He's done it. Has he? The captain. He's finished it off. Ackermanis to Power. Power for a third. Another one. It's become a flood, hasn't it? You just doubt whether they can stop it.
It was just like you were coming up against a tsunami that just kept coming. You could see it happening, but trying to stop it was, was pointless. It was just relentless.
What we did come up against was a pretty incredible side that was hungry and won their first premiership.
The players, they hit a point where they say, we now can't win. And the tremendous weight of a lost grand final starts to sink in. It's only natural that the work rate drops off.
I think a lot of us ran out of petrol tickets, and Brisbane could probably sense that. They smelt a bit of blood.
There's games you should win, and there's games that you're going to lose. And I think, unfortunately, the 2001 grand final was probably a game that we were going to lose.
There is thoughts in your head towards the end where you go, geez, will I ever get back here one day? And here we are 10 years later and I haven't been back.
Voss, steady, cool and calm. Away goes Black. Ackermanis is still running. Brown is right there with him. Look at Acker, making position in the forward line. Down he goes, 40 metres out, and he'll go back and kick for goal. This will be the icing on the cake. Starts at left, back it comes, and he kicks the goal.
There's enough time to go. I soaked this last bit in because I think they're not going to catch us.
If you're in front in a grand final by 2 or 3 goals, nothing's going to stop you. You're not even an army tank could get in your way.
They've started celebrating at South Bank Piazza in Brisbane.
I've had this little thing in my mind my whole footy life that when you're more goals in front than there is minutes to go, then I might think, we're probably going to win here.
I think there's a stage late in the game that a few of our guys were trying to work it out.
Kept looking back up at the clock. That's the first time I probably lost faith in that formula anyway, because when you're in a grand final, we're still defending like our lives depended on it.
Wellman goes to full forward and finds Lucas, who might kick a fourth, and he does he? It's close, he has got 4, and the Bombers are salvaging something from the wreck. Done it. A bit of history here. Lee Matthews has been to the top of the mountain for a second time as coach, and now he's done the impossible. Brisbane have won the premiership.
I don't think you should have done it. We lost the grand final. Boys, we can't do much about it.
I just said it's the worst game you've played.
I'd love to do something, be remembered for something good, not something evil, something good.
Brisbane have won the premiership and they've beaten the champs.
When the siren goes and you're not sure, you're not expecting the siren, and the siren goes and you're in front, it is the most wonderful moment.
I want to say hello to my mum, my wife, my son, hello. Done it. That's better than sex, I reckon.
It is a bear or a little monkey or a big monkey or a gorilla. I don't even know what it is, but it feels like it's been on your back. And when you do succeed at that moment, it's almost relief as much as it is euphoric.
Realising this is what you've dreamt of as a kid for a long time. This is all you wanted to do.
I look back and I'd probably gone through 3,000 sessions of blood, sweat and tears. You get to that moment and you go, you know what, we've climbed the mountain.
Lee Matthews said, if it can bleed, we can kill it, and they killed us.
Dean Wallace and his great mate Barnesy, who played his last game today.
I remember watching Johnny Barnes take his boots off. I think he came and sat beside me and he said, "That's it, it's done." Quite depressing.
James Hird wouldn't be, I guess, totally pleased with his performance though.
I wasn't actually pleasant to Hirdy after the match myself. But that happens.
He wasn't that happy with my performance, which is fair enough.
I just said it's the worst game you've played.
I'd like to apologise to our supporters. We let you down, and that's one we got to live with. Thank you.
I don't think you should have done it. We lost the grand final. Boys, we can't do much about it. It's done, it's dusted.
Because I think probably some people thought it was a little bit disrespectful to probably Brisbane.
I feel you should apologise if you don't win. I mean, their expectations come, and yeah, that's no, I don't feel that was the wrong thing to do.
Of the Norm Smith medal today is Sean Hart of Brisbane.
I went to the place thinking that Mel Michael, the ultimate prankster, had tried to play a trick on me. That's where my mind went at the moment. And then I thought, no, he's not that good.
The first person I want to thank is my Lord and Saviour, Jesus Christ.
When you coach a premiership, it's almost better than playing in it, because the only thing a coach gets is really the end result. There's no sense of my performance. It's all about the team.
16 wins straight. They've just done a magnificent job. We played against a magnificent team, and to beat them down here, I think, is a memory we'll never forget.
It's absolute best thing ever. They're a real close bunch. Let's hope this whets the appetite a little. And you little beauty!
My message to the players when we got off the dais, they started running, and I run over to them. I said, guys, stop. Don't let this moment go quicker than it needs to go. We're walking. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at all the faces of the fans, and we're going to share this moment with them.
There's Kevin Murray, arguably Fitzroy's most famous player.
Much
watch them when they come around the boundary after the final siren and they're just showing off the jumper like this. Well, I had tears in the eyes.
And there's been a marriage this week between the Lions of Fitzroy and the Lions of Brisbane that I think will be forever now.
It's just a magic feeling.
Sheeds knows what it's like to win and lose.
I kept thinking to myself, this side's going to be a pretty good side for a fair while.
Now, it wasn't just a team that was too good for us on the day. This was a team that was on the cusp of something special.
You never foresee dynasties, they happen in retrospect.
They seize that opportunity where they've been down for that long. And I think that's the hunger that comes out of sides that want to get somewhere when they've been nowhere.
You can't really cope with a grand final loss. And it comes down to 2 hours on a Saturday in September.
The club hasn't got back to that level since 2001, so it was probably right to be disappointed and the end of an era for us. The last memory of a grand final was the bitterness of defeat. The mental scars are still there.
Some of my teammates struggle, so you know, it's for some of those guys, it's hard.
To see 7,000 people at the Fitzroy ground when we won that flag and be there on the Sunday, look, you know, your heart was in your mouth, you know.
But it was the young Fitzroy supporters that caught my eye. You know, the joy on their faces, and they still have their Fitzroy scarf, but their Brisbane Lions jumper on. It was fantastic.
We'd fought really hard as a football club to embrace the old Fitzroy members.
They won it on their own, but maybe our spirit along the way just helped them achieve that.
Touching down just after 2 o'clock this afternoon, the Lions were greeted by hundreds of fans at Brisbane Airport.
It's just a big moment for the whole town and footy in Queensland.
Back at the Gabba. Again, joy, the joy of Brisbane Bear supporters that have been through so much.
The quote was made 20 years of marketing wrapped up in one afternoon.
I remember sitting next to Brad Scott, first training session in 2002. He said, "Can you bloody believe we won? How good was that?"
I'd love to do something, be remembered for something good, not something evil, something good. Well, at least my name will be somewhere, and it'll mean something, and my kids and my family can be proud of that.
Oh, I'd definitely love the Essendon Footy Club, yeah, there's no doubt about that. It's probably the one constant in my life, and it's a very special part of my life.
Dean Wallace has got the greatest saying ever going around. He hasn't got $1 million, but he's got 1 million memories, mate, so.
They're memories you cherish. They're memories you hang on to.
Football in general has taught me some great life experiences. I'm just very grateful, and it's changed my life.
The great thing about our game, it's, you know, the jumper represents who we are, but it's the 22 blokes that wear that jumper that are really special to you and something I'll never forget. I grew up with a group of men. We were boys when we came.